Welcome to the No Guts, No Galaxy podcast number 180. We are your host, Phil and Daeron. Today is Wednesday, September 27th, 2019. And I'd like to say welcome to everyone out there. Hopefully you're having a great day, night, morning, wherever you are in the world. Don't forget, support for this podcast. Podcast is brought to you by you, our patrons, our Twitch subs, our viewers, our likers, our ears, all of you guys out there. Just want to say thank you again. If you'd like to help support the podcast, consider becoming a sub, consider becoming one of our patrons. All that information will be down below or up above or to the left or right, wherever it is, it's right there. Just you got to find it. It's hidden. It's actually hidden from you. How you doing, Daeron?
I am doing well. I guess it's all relative. Or it's
better,
not, yeah.
Better than last week.
Last week there was, as some of you know, family emergency. I was out of town. This week I moved my office. The first thing you'll see is, oh my gosh, there's just a big bright light.
California. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, so I'm totally washed out right now. I've moved my office space. My banners are missing, obviously. I've got a really nice black sheet.
It almost hurts me looking at you. It's like,
dude,
it's just bright.
Yeah, it's bright and it looks totally like
I'm glad you're getting sun though. It can really help, that vitamin D and all.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll test the results of sun. But basically, I'm covering up.
Oh my word! I think my dad had a shirt like that. That's what.
Yeah. We live in an old Victorian house, and so a lot of the stuff is just like.
So it's appropriate.
Yeah, it's appropriate for the house. It's not appropriate for the podcast. So I'm going to be doing some work on my new space. Going to get some coverings for the windows. I'm going to get some better lights, and I'm going to get a better backdrop. So I got some work to do. However, I'm very happy. My internet's working. I'm in my new space for the winter, and we get to talk battle mechs and BattleTech and Mech Warriors. So I'm happy.
All right. Well,
how about you? What's going on with you?
I have a wedding this weekend I get to go to. I'm not part of it.
Congratulations.
So that's good.
Oh.
Yeah. Surprise.
Weddings, man.
Danielle doesn't know.
So who's getting married?
It's actually it's one of my good friends who was one of my groomsmen for my wedding.
Nice.
Cheers. Yeah,
so you owe them.
Let me see your mug. Let me see. I think mine's bigger than yours. Look
Really?
at mine. Yeah, man. Mine's girthier. I'm just saying.
How about that, dude? Yours has a rounded tip, but anyway,
it's not even full, and it's a full cup of coffee. Yeah, it's a.
Yeah, I am proud of you. That is a
it is a big mug than,
yeah.
Texas Red sent it to me. So shout out to Tommy if you were
shout
there.
Out to Texas.
Thank you, sir. Yeah. Also,
yeah. So
Tommy, I'm good on coffee. I still have another 5-gallon bag that was in the pantry, so I'm good. Don't send reinforcements.
There you go.
Thank you.
So weddings. Yeah. What do you like going to weddings? Do you not like? Do you see it like it's free food, or do you see it like 3 hours? We gotta see all this stuff again. What is
it? It depends. Like, I mean, you'll go to a wedding and it's a quick rehearsal.
Yeah.
The ceremony's over, and then you have others that it's like.
The ceremony itself is 3 hours, and there's a 3-hour reception.
Yeah, my buddy Shirag, he's Indian, and so normally like an Indian wedding, it's
like Bollywood.
Yes, like it's a process, but she's white, and so they're having like a traditional white wedding. They're not doing, and which I was super disappointed in because I've never been to an Indian wedding.
Yeah,
and I wanted to. I was like, because it's like an ordeal. Like you go, like I've been warned because when we did the bachelor weekend, like it was so funny because like half of his buddies were us white dudes, and then the other half were all of his Indian friends. And anyways, we had a great time, and
awesome.
But yeah, I was like, dude, I'm sort of disappointed. He's like, yeah, it's
you wanted to dance. You wanted the colorful outfits, and you wanted to dance.
Yeah, and drink, have a good time, just have it. Anyways, but no, I'm not gonna be able to do that. Anyways, I think we're still gonna have fun, but it is open bar. So.
My first marriage, my first wedding, which was, I don't know, 25 years ago or something like that.
How was that in like the 20s? How'd you get divorced?
It was ultra religious. And so it was Eastern Orthodox, and the ceremony itself was just hours long. Like, you had to circle something X amount of times, circle this thing in the middle. It was just crazy tradition and took a long time. So I like, quick and easy weddings
Yeah.
now. Like, I like having some food and whatever, but the long weddings kill me, man.
Yeah, I was just disappointed because I wanted to.
Yeah, see
I'd
something you
heard
haven't seen before.
crazy stories, but on the flip side, I talked to some of his buddies, and they were like, "I'm actually sort of glad because it's not just a day, it's not just an evening, it's an entire weekend of just
Debauchery and crazy.
And he said one of them was saying it's so weird being at an Indian wedding too because they're just talking, like the ceremony's going on. And he was like, everybody's just chatting, and it's perfectly normal. Like, it's not everyone just sits there and be quiet. Gosh forbid, little kid says something in the corner and shut up.
Everybody's talking all the time.
Everybody's like, anyways. So I'm disappointed, but I'm excited for him. And,
all right, wedding. So you got a wedding this weekend.
I mean, that's really the craziness about it. Nothing else.
I have a boat friend coming over for dinner today. We have a dinner guest, and they're going to be taking us on a cruise. They've got a 47-foot trawler, and we're going to go for a cruise sometime coming up. Gosh, up to the San Juan Islands. So it's going to be awesome, dude.
Pirate cats.
I know. I just need to get some pirate gear, but that's what I think the only big thing we got going on this weekend.
Yeah. So I mean, it's funny, our last few podcasts been discussion. We've had people that are like, hey, we appreciate you guys talking about your lives. We like
hearing about the details.
Yeah, just your lives and outside of gaming, and it's got me and you talking. I mean, we have talked, and we continue to talk about branching out and doing stuff like that, talking about our lives, talking about movies, or talking about
basically non-mech related.
Yeah, and it's always been really tough for us because. That's our passion. And so I don't know, we need to hear from you guys. If that's something do you want to see, Gandalf's brother and a little Hobbit, exploring outside things? Let us know in the comments, for those that, enjoy. So, even in chat says, by the way, I like the slice of discussions, life discussions being overly narrow, folks, and obviously we have quite a bit to talk about with all the different, Mech Warrior BattleTech stuff, but yeah, maybe we can, maybe we have a strictly, No Guts, No Galaxy, and it'll be BattleTech related. And then we have No Guts, No Galaxy, a life of a wizard and a hobbit. I don't know. Maybe
we'll see. We'll just keep going with what we're doing right now. Obviously, if we have things to talk about, we've been talking about it, and we'll see what the reaction is.
I feel like you need to get a prop. I mean, I've got a little Hobbit door behind me. You
like
need to get like a staff. Yeah, Oh my God, holy crap! I saw something today that no one should have to see. Jesus Christ, this was in.
Get rid of those mirrors in your bathroom, dude.
This, it's surprising every single time I look down. I got a Facebook message from Starwolf. Do you know what he did?
Like recently? No, I don't know.
Yeah.
I know he was doing a challenge where he was eating these red hot things or whatever, but
let's just say I saw no beard. I told him
shaved?
I told him think of the children.
Is this an old one or did he just shave?
Should I share this or no? No, I'm not going to share a personal photo.
Lefty, did this just happen like within the last day or two? Because I saw him streaming and he had a beard. Oh my gosh. Wow.
It is as striking as you. And my response was,
flee, you fool.
Mother of God, put the beard back on. Think of the children.
Did it last night. Did they reach their goal or something? Did they reach the... They're building Lady Wolf a gaming
He has a chin.
They made the goal last night.
It's so weird because, like, I know it's him. God, that must have been horrifying for your little daughter when you
drop it in Discord.
I'll send it to you. I'm not gonna share his photos. If he wants to share it, I'll send it to you in private.
That's fine. I got to see this.
Oh, you want to see it right now? Hold on, I'm gonna get your reaction. I'll copy it.
It's not it's not something I entertain anymore, even for big dollar donations. It's just too much work.
You want to do it for the kids? You would do it for the kids. Don't you dare.
Keep kids out of this.
Well, kids are...
He didn't do it for the kids. He did it for his girl.
And, I mean, one could argue
Yeah.
One could argue. Hold on, let me.
That's the before.
Yep.
I already knew what he looked like with a beard.
Well, you just need this.
Good reference. Ah!
It's so crazy. It's so weird. It's so weird seeing someone you've seen only in a beard and long hair. I don't know if he cut his hair too. I think he might have. I don't know. It's the cheek. It's because you're so used to seeing. I see the cheeks. Like if you just cover his photo, I can. Oh my gosh.
I wonder if he's just gonna revel in not having a beard for a little while, or if he's gonna immediately grow it back.
Lady Wolf's probably like, grow that shit back. I don't know. Some women, like I said, it's.
Oh, I know plenty. Like we have friends here in town, and one of them's straight up like, beards disgust me. She says it to my face. I'm like,
dude, you remember when the rumors were going around like beards were like that they're carry around like diseases. It happened like a year ago. And
no,
I never. Oh my gosh! And it was like they're not sanitary and stuff. And then people were like, "Do you guys actually believe this shit?" Like,
dude,
it's like no, that's fully debunked.
If anybody saw me, like I comb my beard 100 times a day. Hobo, yeah. I moved into a new space. Moved basically from one room to another room in my house. I have some windows over here. Obviously, I need to take care of, and backdrop. Bright. So my office space is work in construction right now. I'll make it better over time.
It's a work in progress.
Work in progress. That's the word I was looking for. The term. Anyway, it looks like shit right now. I understand that. I look like I just started streaming yesterday or something. Huh? Just put a sheet up behind you. It'll be fine, dude. Come on.
It's crazy.
What did you do that for? Dude, what? Come on, man.
I can't. It's not me. It's someone has hijacked my stream. I don't know what's going on. We're just, oh my gosh. Whoever that is, please just make it sure. Just put it right there. That's better. That way you don't have to worry about the glare. Thank you, hacker. I appreciate that.
Not talking until that's removed.
He is a good-looking guy. He is. Definitely, the beard rounds out your face.
Elongates it or whatever.
The beard is your dominating feature. You know what, dude? When you have a beard.
I've totally been scarred now. Like between Star Wolf's and mine, I'm kind of messed up right now.
Yeah. All right. So let's focus.
We need to get back on track.
All right, so
because, I'm a little shaken.
Any new? Okay, so it's been 2 weeks. You had a family emergency.
Yes.
Any movement or anything on the boat stuff? Anything you need to add? Did you find out something new? No updates at this time?
Still reading a lot. Still talking. Like I said, have somebody coming over for dinner tonight. Still talking a lot, but no real updates. What about you? You find yourself a plot of land up in the mountains? Buy yourself a banjo?
No, and one of the things is like right now, like
dude,
I said.
You know what?
What?
You need to buy a plot of land and build your own little like distillery there.
Yeah.
Like
brewery.
totally. Like
brewery. Yeah.
Whatever, brewery.
Yeah.
Like almost like like the moonshine days, back at the turn of the century, up there in those mountains down in the south where you live is where all that happened.
But you make
now you're talking beer, but I'm talking moonshine.
Ooh, I get this.
What?
Instead of a bed and breakfast, brew and breakfast.
Right? See?
Think about
that.
And then, so you'd have the main like brewery, and then you'd have these little like cottages where people and like they you're not in the middle of a town. They come out. They're surrounded by.
Did you know? Dude, you can. Have you looked at like not tiny homes, but like they call them like eco cabins or whatever, where people are buying a plot of land and they'll throw up 6 of these eco cabins, and you can build them for $1,000 or less, and they're renting them out as B&Bs or whatever. You make passive income. All these young people love hipping it up in these eco cabins. There's a way to make a little passive income for you in your mountain retreat.
Is that what it is? I mean, it's cool. So I mean, right now we're just perusing.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
That's like, still where we are.
Yeah, and the thing about it is like I said, it really depends on my wife's career.
Oh, coffee. Yeah, the career, of course.
Yeah, and like I said, we may end up. It's looking like we may potentially move from this house, which isn't what we had planned 2 years ago.
Right.
But it's one of those things where it's just another adventure. But I'll say this: we've looked around the mountains. We've looked up where we went to school, down in Asheville, even further south, and even further out southwest, and even west towards like Tennessee. And it is insane what you can get as far as a home for the price here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking like, 3 acres, 2,000. Well, so point of, we found this one. It was 200 and like, it was like mid 200s, and it was mid 200s, and it had a 3-bedroom, like 3-bath house. It was split level. It was up on like I said, 3 acres. It had a separate house, like a mother-in-law suite house, separate 2-car garage, 3 acres. And it's like mid, I think it was like 240, 250 or something like that. I mean, those.
So let's do an opposite comparison. As I mentioned to you off the air, my brother just got approved for like $800,000 loan for a house. He's got a great job and he's well off. And but he's down in California, and so where he is, Santa Cruz, California, where we grew up, he got approved for $800,000. You know what he can get there? 1,100 square foot house, no garage. It's like 1 or 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, no yard, for $800,000.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, man.
So and it forces and that's what's slowly happening here. I mean, as far as the housing market is going up around Raleigh, and it's pushing more and more people away. And it's crazy too, because like I see we're backwards in this, like, and I don't, maybe we're not the only country, but there will be like a job posting of like must need, master's degree, blah, 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 $15.
You need a master's degree to get an entry-level position. To get an entry-level position, you need 5 years experience. To get 5 years experience, you're not going to get it because you can't get that entry-level position because you don't have a master's degree.
And then they're offering $15 for something that it's totally, like...
We're in a messed up time right now, man. I feel so bad for kids coming out of college now.
Yeah. So, I mean, and anyway, so we may be moving out of this location, which is a bummer because I love my office space. We love the home. My wife
get that. It's hard.
Pictured, because, we're looking at possibly starting a family next year.
You got to take the downside and then embrace the positives of wherever you're going to move or whatever. I mean,
it's an adventure. It's a house. It's not the end of the world. I'd rather... Yep. So it depends on her and what she sort of decides, but since it's been 2 weeks, we've sort of, I think that's the direction we're going to go. And so now we got to look at like, have our realtor over and just sort of, like talk to her and, like what's things looking like? When's the best time? But I'm excited because I think if we do end up moving, I think what's going to happen is I don't think we're going to move directly into another property. I think it's going to take a little bit of time because it's going to be with us really sort of saying, well, we could get property, not property as far as like a house up in the mountains, though we could if there was something small enough, like let's just say it's like a 1-bedroom, 1-bath or whatever. But even if it's just property, if that's now our goal, I think what we should do is be responsible and get something smaller here. That way, financially, we'll be in a better spot. So I think that's what we're sort of looking at is having, a little bit smaller of a home here and then saying, okay, well, then that lets us financially the freedom to be able to save and make a purchase, few years.
I think I 100% think this is what you should do. I think you should find a plot of land up in the mountains. That's awesome. Take a little trailer up there, build a Hobbit home, all underground with gardens on top of it. So your roof is garden, and then just have little hobbits there. But I think you should do. Anyway, adventures ahead for both of us. Who knows where it's going to go? And Cisco Kid, I totally agree, man. I've wanted to be a farmer. I wanted to get greenhouses out here and do geothermal heating and cooling and do farming. That was something I toyed with as well. But I don't know if it's in the cards for this life.
Let's focus.
Let's move on.
But that being said, if you guys like that sort of discussion, which we do,
home talk.
We should, something like that. NGNG. It should be like,
it should just be whatever the fuck we have to talk about.
We should name it like it should be on the NGNG, but we call it like, on the periphery frontiers, or the
thing is, like, I'd be talking about TV and movies too had I been watching anything, but I don't have any. I haven't seen a good movie in the last few weeks.
Yeah.
TV's kind of meh. I don't know. There were the Emmys. Is there anything you're
God,
watching
no.
that won an Emmy?
I don't watch the Emmys.
Yeah.
How old do I look?
Well, no, sometimes I find good, shows from watching the Emmys.
Gotcha.
But,
Anyways,
yeah.
let us know, guys. I think, Better Living with Daeron and Phil. Yeah, I mean, it's got a ring to it, Better Living with a Wizard and Hobbit. I feel like that's got a better, reach out there. But, all right, so let's talk about MWO. We had the 2019 rewards program come out. So if you made purchases in the past year in 2018, you qualify for a lot of them. I know I was able to pick up a second Sleipnir, which, to be fair, is nice because now I got one that has the quad LB10 and then one that has dual heavy Goss. Did I tell you I had a 1,359 damage round yesterday? I had like 9 kills.
Dude.
It was
what were
like
you in?
the Sleipnir. It was the quad LB. It was like I didn't know how many kills I had. I was like, shit, did I just get like
I love the
kills?
Sleipnir because it's got the firepower, but it's not as slow as other assaults, man. I just need that mobility.
Yeah. When in comparison to like the Fafnir 5 Bravo, I like the ECM, but it's like just significantly slow and wider. It's fatter.
Yep.
Needs to slim down, just saying. We got
Sleipnir's life.
Some MC deals as well. And
the heroic MC deals. It's 50% off Hero Mechs and 30% more MC and bonus content. This goes till October 2nd. We still got some days on that.
Props to Matt for the events, but
dude, yeah.
Can I throw a butt out there?
Well, I was going to just say props to Matt and then put a period on the end of that sentence.
Props to
go
Matt.
ahead.
Props to Matt.
But what?
But
yeah.
I wish we had just this 24/7. Like I get done with them and I want more. That's
you're not talking about sales, you're talking about events.
The events.
Yeah. Because the event that's happening right now
is a
deadly accurate event. And it's got about a little over 6 days left.
But Matt Newman is the guy behind that. He's the one, he does all of this stuff. So I enjoy.
That's a good butt.
I just want more. I want
we want dailies.
And don't even give me C-bills. Don't even give me, I just make it a challenge and I get a check mark. Like, hey kid, good job. Like, just so I can do something that's outside the norm. And to me, that's enough of a...
Well, it gets you to try different mechs, try different weapons. Sometimes it just depends on the event. But yeah, I agree. Anything that forces you to do something a little bit different, like for me, something that forces me to not be in my Marauder, Warhammer, or Sleipnir is nice,
Even if it's clan mechs, huh?
Well, I don't know. I was discussing that with Joe
you
the
like
other day.
putting on that clanner tech. Yeah, you do. Slipping in nice and silky and smooth.
Yeah, no comment.
All right, so that's we just had a patch. The patch also had faction play adjustments. One thing to note out of that patch that just happened is the damage taken at the end of round screen is now available. So that's cool. We had a little bit of a discussion. Some people were saying, I wish that showed in the end of round screen at the teams. Here's my thought on this. I don't think that's a good idea. I think if anything, that would lead to just toxicity. It shows you as yourself how much damage you did and how much damage taken. And I think that's all it's needed. I think, give me a positive for having it at the end of round screen team side. I don't like seeing the evil.
Compare penises.
I don't like seeing the negative in people, and you know that. I'm an optimist. I think people are good people across the board, but it is the internet, and I can't see, no one sold me in the discussion of having it there in a positive way, other than saying, well, you didn't
take enough damage.
Yeah, like, oh, you're in a direwolf and you did 90 damage, and it would
just be a tool to rag on people,
but for the
most part,
yes.
right?
And this is also, my argument was, it was in chat because we were having a good time about it. I was like, well, how about you should have left your assaults in the rear to where they got rotated on and they all died, and then you're going to make fun of them and call them worthless because you didn't help them out. Yeah, that makes sense. But that's the truth. Is like, how many times in Rotato land do I play assaults?
It's kind of the same as not showing team damage in the the team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, also reports of people enjoying the adjustments to faction play, and literally Reddit was saying this is the most fun they've had in faction play in a while. So there's
I'm
that.
still looking to drop with a unit and get a little faction play under my belt.
So
it's been a while.
If someone wants to bring you under their wing, how do they?
If somebody wants to adopt me, just contact Bombadil on Discord and chat with me about
on
it.
On the NGNG Discord.
You'll find me in the NGNG Discord. Private message me, and let's talk. Yeah, I would totally want to drop and maybe even stream it or something like that.
All right, so I'm gonna slightly alter things just because I feel like BattleTech, just quickly because we don't, just so we can reorder, because I think Mech 5 will be our stuff. BattleTech.
Wait, are we? Okay,
I'm just moving them around.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
BattleTech.
So we're talking Hairbrained Schemes.
Yep.
BattleTech.
BattleTech the game by HBS. We've had reports since the patch that there's been performance improvements by users. We'd love to hear back if you guys can let us know in the description and see if you've had. I mean, again, it's one thing if we've said we've had it, but I want to hear from you guys. So, and of course with that as well, Rogue Tech and all the mods, it bricked it when it came out. And I think they've been getting that back and running. So more on that as we get. BattleTech Catalyst Game Labs just sent an email, and they've been on the money with this. But the recent email basically was talking about they're working on the pledge manager for the Kickstarter. And obviously it's a large amount of options and selections and so forth. So they're working with the company on getting that up and running. So when we hear about it and it goes live, we'll let you guys know. And it'll be interesting seeing how many people because if you pledge, doesn't matter what level, you can always change your amount, right? Later, usually there's a cutoff date.
Yes.
But okay, so Mech 5, you found some information that I think was interesting, and that is
I mean, we're talking about the Epic Game Store. There was a lot of speculation or skepticism about how well a game will do on yes, and so I guess there's been a few games that there's been some numbers on, but the only one that I really know, I did hear some people talking about a couple other games, but Borderlands 3 sold like 2 or 3 times more than Borderlands 2 already on Epic Game Store. So
do we know how many of those were PC?
I think that's mostly console. But so there's not necessarily a lot that you can take from that. But it's better than hearing that it's, selling half as much as Borderlands 2. So there's nothing really definitive. I'm not making any claims or statements based on that, but it's nice to hear that there's exposure there, that they can do better than they've ever done with any of their previous games through the Epic Game Store. And that's what it's translating into, hopefully for me, it's fingers crossed, is that there's a lot of exposure there, and that that Mech Warrior 5 will sell well as well.
Gotcha. And of course we don't have any numbers, they haven't released any, but we can assume there's a portion of that. And do we know how many, an estimate? Because you said it's 2 to 3 times. Is that 2 million, 3 million, 10 million?
I don't have any more info.
Okay.
And there's also other games that have at least 2 others that I heard people, basically because when that news came out, the developer saying that they've sold 2 or 3 times as much, people broke off and talked about 2 other games. I forgot what those titles were called, but that they're selling well as well. So yeah, so I mean, hopefully, it's Mech Warrior 5 stands a chance of selling some great numbers or whatever, and getting a lot of people into this community. I think it's just overall great for the community in general. Just like the BattleTech, the Catalyst Game Labs, Kickstarter was great for, I think, the community in general, because it, set all these records on Kickstarter, and I think it kind of opens people's eyes to, oh yeah, I remember playing this 20 years ago, whatever, and brings people in. That's the same thing I'd like to see Mech Warrior 5 do, is bring more people in to find out about Mech Warrior Online, BattleTech from Hairbrained, BattleTech the tabletop, everything. Just keep growing this community. So I'm excited in that way.
All right, so hopefully we'll find out maybe a little bit more, and that's relative because Borderlands just came out too. So I mean, that if they did that well so soon, that means, let's just say in a year's time, 2 years time, I mean, obviously they'll continue getting sales from that. So new screenshots for Mech 5 are up now, because they've been releasing more than normally 1, if not 2 or more. I'm just going to link directly to our Discord. We have a channel that's Mech Warrior 5 News, so all the screenshots get posted. you can get them directly there if you're not a part of the Discord on the pre-order. So I'll just have that in the show notes. So click that.
Any of these screenshots sticking out to you?
Yeah. So one, I guess
I like the Jaeger.
Yeah. So Jaeger's nice. There's one of the backside of a Catapult K2. You can see a crab, an enforcer. One thing to note on that K2 though is it's firing discharge of the PPCs. Whatever it hit, you can see sort of an aurora effect, some type of particle effect from the target. I know some people have asked about the quality of the screenshots because they look slightly weird, and I think Matt told I don't think he's got like the best high-end computer where he's doing them like and with RTX and like the blah blah blah. So I think he uses a program. I'm not sure about that, but I think in the past people were asking about that. But as far as the quality of them, I was there at MechCon. You were there. A lot of you guys were there. I mean, the game looked nice, sharp,
beautiful,
clean. Right?
Now, are 3 of those the exact same?
So no. So there's a picture of a VTOL.
It's crashing.
It's crashing.
Got it.
If you look at like the bottom 2 where it crashes into buildings, those buildings are coming apart too.
Dude.
Yeah. The destructibility is impressive, and you know
it's beautiful.
It's a recent thing too with Unreal. They released they did this demo of it's a Mech 2. Where it's like just fully, it's trying to track this fast moving target and it's just like destroying these pillars and stuff like that. And the technology that's out there, and even with like Unity and stuff doing more and more as well, but with Unreal, it really does, it adds a level of complexity, and it, and of course it adds more workload too, because you're trying to create these believable, destructible environments and so forth. And yeah, it's going to be nice. I mean, where you walk through buildings, like it's going to be interesting to see if there's a negative effect to that, where like, hey, we want you to protect as much of the city as possible, and
don't kill the civilians.
But
we need that office space when we're done.
So I wanted to talk to you about something that I feel like is a unique conversation, because we've had many Mech Warrior titles before, starting with, obviously, for me, it was multiplayer BattleTech, but for you, Crescent Hawks, so forth and so on. I'm not familiar with Crescent Hawks. Was there a storyline to that? How did that game work?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was all storyline back then. I don't even think there weren't open world games back then. There pretty much wasn't anything like that. So what you're getting into is basically storyline or story driven games versus open world.
Yeah. And what do we know so far about Mech 5? It's going to be a little bit of basically both, right? And we've had that in BattleTech the game. BattleTech the game, it seemed, I guess, a little bit, from Hairbrained was a little bit different, because it looked like they were doing a full sandbox from the start. And this is their dev, recordings, their AMAs. And they realized, I don't know how far in development it was where they needed to tell story, because they were like, we're just sort of throwing the player in a deep end and expecting them to know what's going on. And it looks like Mech 5, at least the benefit of the doubt, they were able to learn, heads. It's nice that BattleTech actually launched first, because they can learn from any mistakes that were done too, of like, well, telling that story. But it gets in, the question I have is like, is there pros and cons to like either or? Because like the storylines of Mech Warrior, I'll say it, weren't always the most like in-depth, gripping,
Wait, what you're talking about right now is Mech Warrior 1, 2, 3, and 4.
I mean, yeah, Mech 2, I mean, okay, so Mech Warrior 2, I mean, it was like you were the clanner, and it wasn't as, obviously technology back then and so forth. Mech 3 stepped ahead, and in my opinion, out of the Mech Warrior titles, I feel like 3 was the best story. I mean, with the director like Morgan Kell doing, as the dropship, and like all of the voice acting throughout, I just felt it was a good story.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. So, I connected with all of them and had fun with all of them, all four titles. And we're talking just Mech Warrior 4 or Mech Warrior titles right now, 1 through 4. Interestingly enough, I know you didn't like it as much. The story I connected with the most, though, was Mech 4 Mercs. And it might just be because that's the one I've played the most over like the last 20 years, so the other ones are kind of more of a distant memory.
Yeah.
But I just like the idea of you have a Merc company and you're building it up, and and it's kind of with bigger scale story things happening around you or whatever, but you're focusing on your Merc company. I just like that scenario just in general. So I really liked kind of, I wouldn't even say there was a balance in Mech 4. It felt more story driven than open world for sure, because it was. But yeah, I mean, we were talking about that, just story driven versus open world. You have games like Witcher 3, something comparable. And any number of other games that are open world, but also have story, GTA 5, whatever.
Because I feel like some of the pitfalls of like the stories are, if they don't give you any freedom, like MechWarrior 2 Mercenaries, you could pick and choose a few missions, but ultimately it then forced you, like you got to a certain point where you had to do like a storyline mission. So there was
Same
a little
with
bit
MechWarrior
of
4.
Yeah, there was a little bit of give and take, but the story, Ian Dressari, the Mech 4 stuff, I just didn't get it. Woe is me, or this, I just
yeah. I think the key is balance. I think you can be, these days, I think, because you're trying to appeal to as many different types of people out there as you can. And obviously there's people that just love story and they want story driven 100%. There's people that love open world, they want that 100%. And there's people that want a combination of both. I would place myself in that latter group. I want both story driven content as well as the freedom to pursue that story in multiple ways. In other words, you don't have to go just a set line. If you want to take a break and go out and hit some planets and do some other contracts this way or that way, whatever, to have the freedom to do that and then come back into the storyline. And I like a good mixture.
And BattleTech did that to some extent. BattleTech, the game by HBS. The problem I ran into it with that was you had a very repetitive nature in BattleTech, as far as you'd see the same maps, the same biomes, the same combination of like enemies. And then one of the big factors to me was it just didn't, the worlds didn't feel lived in. You were able to basically get the best of the best mechs and then roll into the storyline missions and just like dominate. Like, remember at the very end of the game, like it just didn't feel, so I feel like that's a drawback. So I feel like what really appeals to me is having an open-ended, and while you're having story, but maybe the story can stay the same, sort of like if I was to play Mech Commander. The difference is with BattleTech, I wish, like, if you would have started a new campaign, you'd have different starter mechs, a different, set of stuff, and it wasn't always the same. I don't know, like just some, I know it's hard to do like variations of story, right?
The repetitive thing is like a fear I have whenever I start a game where I know that's coming. It's like this, it's like, it's going to happen, and every hour you play, it's getting slowly closer to that point where, oh, I've seen this mission before. Yeah. I've seen this scenario before.
But
and then it's just gone. That freshness or whatever. I always can feel that just slowly approaching when I play a game, and especially when it's a game you love and you want it to last forever, knowing it's approaching sucks.
But it's funny you mentioned that, and I mentioned Mech Commander. I've never felt that with Mech.
That's great,
and I don't know why that. Like, I think it's because it's story and it's linear, right? Like you have missions 1 through 5 of Operation 1, and it goes all the way to there's a bunch of missions, right? But the difference being is like you don't know what Mech Warriors are going to be live, and you don't know what equipment you're going to have. And the same thing could be said about BattleTech, right? And so that'll be interesting. Obviously, we heard the last AMA was about the hardpoint system. And with with Mech Warrior 5, me and you are involved. We have no idea what the storyline's gonna be. We've played the MechCon demo with you guys out there too. So like for me, it's just I want a story it doesn't have to be gripping and intense. Like I guess Titanfall. You said Titanfall 2 had one of the best like story. Right.
Titanfall 2 had the single player campaign was amazing.
But there was no deviation. It wasn't open-ended. It literally was like...
Correct.
Right. So, okay. And I feel like that's something like the whole sandbox, write your own story. I feel like there's a hook there that, if done right, can be really, really cool because that's infinite replayability. The one thing that I feel like is there's a but to there is that you have to make it
your butts.
You have to make it so that it doesn't feel repetitive and that there are enough things going on. And again, that sort of goes back to BattleTech the game, where that's one of the things I didn't like about it. I will say the mods have definitely improved and the game has improved since it started on that.
For sure.
But
also it's how you approach it. So like a lot of people will do Iron Man challenges or whatever, there's ways that you can make it fun and keep doing it. I think though that touches on really what can add tons of extra value. And that's the modding. And that's where, all fingers and toes crossed as far as the mod scene just taking and owning Mech Warrior 5. Like I want to see them just do amazing things. I think there's a million possibilities, like we've talked before. Remaking novels, remaking other games, whatever. I just want to see it all.
Yeah, Bojan brings up procedural generation, and for those that have been keeping up to date on how Mech 5 is doing theirs, is maps. There's two different types of ways people can make maps. You can do it where you construct the maps by hand. So like you would assume like a story driven would be that, right? Whereas what's really cool is the procedural side of things, where they use a set of tiles, and those tiles are constructed by the procedural generation. You're basically doing inputs of saying like, okay, it's going to be an asteroid type planet. Well, then the game knows, well, this type of foliage is not able, like these are the type of rocks that can be used with this biome and so forth. And like, okay, you're going to do assault base, right? Or capture, this facility or whatever it is. I don't know. And then it could take those parameters and it creates the map for you. And then you have infinite replayability because every single one's going to be different. And the more assets that you have, the more unique. So like if you only start off with one, let's just say environmental assets of, space biome, right? Like domes and stuff like that and blah, 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 right? Stuff like you have like on HPG and stuff that's outwards. Well, then as the developers and the player base adds more of those, it just becomes exponentially bigger and bigger, right? And so, I feel like, again, that's sort of a one-up in the fields of the game coming out because of the system. It's actually I know it's not fully procedural because it's still using tiles. It's not like it's just creating them out of magic, right?
I think also it's interesting is the scenarios. One thing I'm hoping with the scenario, like basically what I want is something where I can sit down with either, 3 other friends or 3 viewers from the stream or something like that and set up some really challenging scenarios, like almost not beatable. So I hope that we can get some good challenging scenarios and people will be making, like that was the thing with the Steam Workshop. And I hope again that EGS can do something similar where somebody just makes an amazing scenario here, challenge this, try and beat this one with your friends or whatever. That's the kind of stuff I'm looking for. So I think there's lots of possibilities. As far as story driven versus open world, I feel like there's great things about both situations. And what I'm hoping for is just a really nice balance where people that love story-driven content can be happy and where people that love open world can be happy as well.
Because what you're talking about is more like being able to create a campaign of like...
even just one mission
of like
really challenging.
Yeah, but I'm saying even further of like
Oh yeah, if you
almost
can
doing
create
like a
campaigns.
novella, Decision at
Yes.
Thunder Rift, and
Yes.
literally you click campaign, you click load, and you
Yes.
don't have all of this interplanetary stuff.
Yep.
Like it literally just shoehorns you just through missions, and I'm assuming, I don't know, but I would assume that's going to be possible because they can, it just cuts out that part of
Dude,
um,
think how awesome that would be to just have all these stories that we've had in our heads for decades, 30 years, all of a sudden turned into video games. And I feel like this is the first time that this is possible. The game that's come out to where it's really going to have the tools to do that.
the amount of work and effort that would be on mod teams, but or even PGI. I mean, there's nothing to sell. They couldn't do a DLC, afterwards of some of these things. All right. I mean, you got to think. You have the ability to do MOCAP. Technically, if someone has the tools to do motion capture
these days, dude,
characters,
everything is within reach of the individuals. Like, I mean,
cinematography tools are out there. That's another thing. It was going down in Twitch chat yesterday. Someone was talking about, oh, I didn't even know there was cartoons, and I'm like, well, like everyone's gonna have access to the Mech Warrior 5 assets, so really, someone could do a machinima animated series that's captured using Mech 5.
Yeah.
Like, they literally could create a Decision at Thunder Rift movie, mini short. I mean,
and of course I've got to, we're talking MOCAP. If any of you modders out there, mod teams, have the budget, you got to hire the MOCAP guy within our community, which of course Elias Defexis. He's like they call him, what's the guy that did Gollum?
Oh, I know who you're talking about though.
Yeah, so he's like the Canadian version of that guy. He does all kinds of MOCAP. But anyway, I mean, again, all the tools are there, and what we have seen, from things like from as high as or as big as Mech Warrior Living Legends, that's like a super organized mod team, to people just doing, hey, here's a new mech I've designed or whatever. Yeah. I think we're going to see all kinds of a full range of possibilities and potential content that will keep coming out for years. Yeah. I mean, here we are 20 years basically since Mech Warrior 4, and I'm still playing that because that's the best I have to play. So I am so ready for this, so ready for it. And
but yeah, I mean, as far as like, I feel like there's a need and want for story-driven content.
Yes.
With the freedom to be able, on the flip side, or the freedom to be able to do. And I think that sometimes there's a combination of both, but I think some people want, and this is where I feel like potentially the mod scene, maybe even PGI, could do just a story-driven thing too. Especially if
Mech Warrior 5 novellas, man, I'm totally down with that.
Right. Especially if it involves like, it may not affect your play, the campaign. I'm assuming that's how it works. I'm assuming you'll load up, you can click campaign, and then select an active campaign. So you can have multiple different playthroughs going on at once. And maybe, just maybe, again, we don't know. I don't know. One thing as a modder, like, we don't know yet is what we're going to be able to do, as far as the can we exclude, can we just force, can we do things? Yeah. So
it's Andy Serkis, actually, isn't it? There's an R in there, but anyway, his name just didn't come to me when I needed it. But anyway,
it's all right. It's old age. We forget it.
Dementia.
All right. Don't go towards the light, Daeron. I know it's right there.
The aliens are coming. As I start floating.
Right. But yeah, man, it's one of those things where it's intriguing because if Mech Commander would have had where you started off with different set, and maybe the enemies on the maps were randomized as well, that game, I mean, geesh, man. And that's what you're going to be able to achieve with, Mech Warrior 5. Like it won't ever be quite the same every single time you do a skirmish or whatever. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. I just figured,
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where it falls in between story-driven and open world, and hopefully having something for everybody.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's our ranting and raving and discussion about Mech 5. Obviously, Russ and crew are being pretty tight-lipped about the stuff, and I know some people want all the answers right now. I can explain it perfectly. I'm impatiently waiting. I'm not going to lie, impatiently, because it is what it is. So,
but we can say we just had a meeting with Russ, and we did, and we, there's stuff coming.
patient.
Obviously.
But I'm impatient, Daeron.
I'm super impatient.
I'm impatient,
I understand
but I have
the logic.
Yeah.
But I understand the logic in which they're approaching things. I totally understand it. But from a fan's perspective,
the fan in you doesn't agree.
Yes.
But
just understanding business and understanding what he's doing, I get it.
Yeah.
But holy cow, the patience required, man, is pretty up there. So, but it's good. Hey, at least we have something to be impatient about. Like I remember for many years, there was nothing.
You always bring
nothing
it up.
On the horizon.
The dark ages. The dark ages.
Yeah, there's the dark ages, but then there's the dark ages. And I mean, right, where you'd always be going to search engines, typing in Mech Warrior, looking for something new. That's how we found Living Legends and found each other.
I mean, I remember just watching that again, the hype, man, back then in 2009 when that trailer came out, when they were trying to get a publisher, and it was just like everyone was like, "Hold on, is it this?" And then someone froze it, and it was the Davian sunburst in the background. It was like, "Holy shit, this is happening!" Like,
Sure.
So, anyways,
anyhow,
we will bring more news as we find it next week.
Just so you guys know, we are trying to bring you as much as possible, as soon as possible, as often as possible. So it's not like we're just like, oh, whenever it happens. I mean, we're working hard to bring whatever we can as quickly as possible, and so
we try to get information. We tried.
It
didn't happen.
We threw some light threats in there or whatever, and he just laughed at us. But anyway. We'll have more soon, hopefully. But I think that's pretty much it on MWO, Mech Warrior 5, BattleTech, and BattleTech. I love that there's 2 BattleTechs.
Right. Bribery, flattery, yeah. But yeah, let us know, guys, if you enjoy, again, that sort of discussion. Me and Daeron have talked about like branching slightly.
Open world podcast, right?
Open world podcast.
Instead of story driven.
Yeah, open world podcast. That's, But just want to say thank you again, guys, for those tuning in. And of course, this podcast is supported by you, the viewer. Please support us in a variety of ways. Consider becoming a sub, become one of our patrons, use our merchandise link. By the way, if you're going to be upgrading, I just recently helped someone build a system from PC Part Picker, and they're going to be using our Amazon affiliate link. If you're going to be doing any upgrades on Amazon, we've got a link. It'll be down below in the description. Consider it. We would appreciate it so much. And of course, just want to say thank you again, guys, for tuning in.
That is right. And be sure to check out our website at NoGutsNoGalaxy.net. You can check us out on Twitch at NGNGTV. YouTube at NoGutsNoGalaxy TV, Twitter at NoGutsNoGalaxy, Facebook at NoGutsNoGalaxy Podcast, SoundCloud at NoGutsNoGalaxy, and for all the latest and greatest in mech porn t-shirts and mugs, be sure to check out NoGutsNoGalaxyStore.com.
This was your local No Guts, No Galaxy Mech Warrior podcast, signing off for tonight. This is Phil.
And this is Daeron.
Until next time, Mech Warriors. Oh, and he got it. He got it. I'm so proud of you.
I held it for longer.